Hi, my name is Robert from Evolving Web. Today we are putting together a demo that pulls Drupal content into a Gatsby site. We will build a list of coffee type by creating nodes in Drupal and then transfer the list content into Gatsby site. This can be achieved with 3 steps. First, we build an API server using Drupal 8. Second, we build a Gatsby site that queries Drupal content using GraphQL. And finally, publish the Gatsby site. Let's start with building an API server. I'm having here a newly built Drupal 8 site. In this site, we have a content type named coffee. This is a very simple content type which only has the title and the body text. As for sample content, I have created a server node of this type. Now it's time to turn the website into an API server. We will need to install a module named JSON API. So JSON API will generate an API server that implements the JSON API specification. This module is zero configuration. It means you only need to enable the module and the API server is already ready to use. In this demo, we also need to install another module named JSON API Extra. So, I will install the module using the drush command. Drush download and then drush enable. So, out of the box, the default endpoint of JSON API will be JSON API. However, if we access the same endpoint as an anonymous user, we will get an error. We will have an error of 406, which say not acceptable. It means the anonymous user doesn't have permission to access the resource on the coffee server side. So let's give them the permission to access it. This can be done by going to Pupil Permission and search for JSON API. So here we have the permission say access JSON API resource list, and let's give the anonymous user this permission and save. Now go back to the other browser and refresh it. We should be able to access the JSON data now. Now that we have the API server ready to use, let's switch into the second step, which is build a Gatsby site. So to create the Gatsby site, we will need to have the Gatsby command line. I already have it here installed on my computer. But if you don't have it yet, check it out at the Gatsby website. Here is how to install the Gatsby command line tool. So let's create the Gatsby site. I will call my website Coffee's Client. Once finished, we will be able to run the Gatsby site. Let's run it. Gatsby develop.
In response to lacking shower facilities,
Once the compile succeed, the Gatsby site will be ready at port 8000. So now we have a Gatsby default site. So let's see how we can go next from here. We already have the Gatsby site installed and we want to have it query the Drupal content using the GraphQL. So let's break it into 4 smaller steps. First, we need to install a plugin called Gatsby Source Drupal. This is the plugin that will have Gatsby to communicate with the Drupal website and then pull in the Drupal content into Gatsby. And then we need to create the page named Coffee. And then we need to create the GraphQL query that get the content from the Drupal site and then use it inside the coffee page. So the first step, the Gatsby Source Drupal, we need to install it. Let's go to the Gatsby website and search for the Gatsby Source Drupal. And to install the plugin, we need to run the command, this command. Now with the Gatsby Source Drupal installed, I will need to configure it. So to configure it, we will go to the Gatsby config.js file, which is located in the root of Gatsby site. And then add the new plugin in there. The name, we need to change the base URL and the API base. So the base URL which we are using here is the coffee server. And the API base, which is the endpoint, in our case, which will be JSON API, because our JSON API server has the JSON API endpoint. So now if we check the website, nothing happened with the current website. Now that we already finished install and configure the plugin, let's go into the next step, which is create the page coffees. So to create a new page in Gatsby, we will need to go to source folder and then page, and then create a new JavaScript file named coffee. The content of this page will be very simple. We would want to create some page, a simple page, such as we would want to create a simple hello world page. So let's copy it from the index page. As we can see here, this is a typical Gatsby page. First, we need to import the React, and then we define the content of the page and export it. So let's copy it to the coffee page and do some modification. We don't need the link in this one, so let's remove it. We need to modify the name of the constant. Let's call it coffees, and then we need to export it. Finally, let's remove all the content here, leaving the heading 1 only, and we will change it into different type of coffee. and save it. So whenever we save something, Gatsby develops still watching for the change in the site. Let's say we make some change here. It will recompile the website. And now if you refresh the Gatsby site, it's still working. And we have a new page, which is coffee. And it has the heading that we define in the coffees page. So we already finished the second step. So we already have an API server built with Drupal 8. We already have a basic Gatsby site. So the next step is we need to build the GraphQL query. So the GraphQL query is the query language for an API server. It's the way that Gatsby and Drupal communicate together. Let's say Gatsby tells Drupal, give me on the node of type coffee, or give me on the node of type basic page. So let's try to see how the GraphQL look like. So when we run the command like Gatsby develop, the website will be available at the port 8000, and it also comes with an in-browser tools called GraphQL. So the GraphQL will be available at this address. Let's go to see what it is here. So this is the interface of the in-browser tools for GraphQL, which called GraphQL. So this is the tool for writing, validating, and testing the GraphQL query. So we will try to see what is here. By hitting Ctrl and space, the GraphQL will autocomplete all the possibility on the data available in the website. So now we don't see any information of the Drupal site yet. It's because we enabled the plugin Gatsby soaks Drupal after running the command Gatsby develop. So now we need to stop it and run it again so that Gatsby pick up the plugin. We will stop it and we will run it again. Now the website is compiled again. It's still there. The coffee page is still there. Now let's go into the GraphQL tools. And see what we have here. Control and space. Now we have more options. Those are the information come from the Drupal site, like on block, on node, type of type, on node coffee. So on node coffee is what we are looking for now. We would want to fit the title. And the body. Let's play to see what we get here. So this is all the data that we get from the server. Let's open it to compare. Okay, so the graph query is validate, and we can now use it. Let's go to the fourth step, which is use the GraphQL query inside the page. Now that we have the graph query running, let's try to put it in the coffee page and print out the data that we need. So let's go back into the coffees page, and we will declare the graph query here. And then copy all this, put in here. So now let's print it out in the template. We will So right after we save the file, the list of the coffee show up on the website. So now let's see if we can print out the body text. Okay, so now all the body text show up, but it's not nice, so we need to find another way to print it out. So we can try so we can set the content dangerously here. So far in this demo, we already build the graph query, and then we use it in the coffee page to render the content of the Drupal site inside Gatsby. So we already complete the second step. Let's go with the final step, which is publish Gatsby site. To publish Gatsby site, we can run the Gatsby build command. So inside the Gatsby folder, let's run Gatsby build. So this command will generate a lot of files in the publish folder here. So we have a static version of this Gatsby site. So in conclusion, in this tutorial, in this demo, we already built one Drupal server, and then we built a basic Gatsby site, and then we use the plugin named Gatsby Soaks Drupal to connect the Gatsby to the Drupal site. And then we create a custom page in Gatsby, and we create a GraphQL query to connect and retrieve the data from the Drupal site, and we print it out in the Gatsby site. And finally, we learn how to publish the website, to build the website. So thank you for joining me today. See you next time.